Hello? Sorry about that. I was saying hello. Welcome to Adobe Live. My name is VooDoo Val. It is good to see all of you folks. I'm going to be your host this morning for a Photoshop typography challenge, and I'm very excited about it. Ruh-roh, yeah. Hopefully you all can hear me now. Can you hear me? Hello, hello? Let me just wait for a moment while the chat catches up. There you go. Okay, cool. But yes, it is good to see you all this morning. Welcome all of my friends in the live chat. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm gonna kind of dive into what we've got planned for challenge, for the challenge this morning. But before I do, please remember all of the assets and links and things that you need in order to get started with me and join in the fun is going to be down below in the description. You can download the starter file and anything else that you need, and then you can dive into Photoshop with me. So I'm going to pop over here and I'm going to show you what we've got going. So as you can see, it says Photoshop Typography Challenge. Use stamps, custom brushes, and effects to transform your type into a storybook illustration. And I know that this might seem like kind of an odd thing, but I can't wait to show you how we're actually going to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the info group that I have here. I'm going to keep my colors where I can see them, but I'm going to make it a little bit smaller just with Control T. I'm going to snag this and I'm going to put this up in the corner so I can keep an eye on those. Or I can use my libraries. One thing that I did set up already is a library that has all of my colors in it, and I might actually just hide my colors and use that. But just as a quick reminder, for those of you who are doing the challenges with me, you can add colors very easily to your library by selecting a tool that will allow you to sample a color, such as the brush tool, holding Alt, and then just selecting a color that you like. And then you can come over here to this plus button and you can add foreground color and continue to do that for all of your colors. Now I have all of these colors that I've supplied to you in my colors. And then what I also did is I selected this darkest color here from that little row of colors and selected a slightly darker version. And then I selected the brightest color here and selected a slightly lighter version. So I have something more closely related to black and white that isn't actually a true black or a true white. So I've got all my colors here. I'll go ahead and hide this, and I might even throw that into the info tab just so I only have my letter and my background. And I have the letter U here. And what I will do before we jump into how we're going to transform this into a storybook illustration is kind of show you how I chose this and how I lined it up the way I have. So if I hide this real quick, all I did, I'll hit T on my keyboard to access my type tool. I went ahead and just clicked and chose any letter. We could do this with a K. You know, I'm not going to use a K, but with caps locks on, I'll just select a K. Click that, Control T, just to free transform it, and I made it super large. I'm going to come in here. I'm using Montserrat, which is an Adobe font. So if you folks would like to use the same font as me, feel free. In fact, let me go to fonts.adobe.com, which is one of your best friends as a designer. You can go to fonts.adobe.com, and I will show you here that if you type in Montserrat, you can find it here, and you can scroll down and see like just how many different weights there are and font typefaces there are within this font, and you can just click this little slider button here to activate all of your fonts if you would like to use the same one as me. In fact, I will, for the live chat, I will just throw a link in there if you'd like to use it. It's one of my favorite fonts. I feel like it really gets the job done for this project in particular because it can be so bold. So that is what I am going to use. And I'm going to turn this font weight to black. just to make a super chunky K. And then I will Control J or Command J if you're working on a Mac to duplicate it. I will Control T and hold Shift before I click just to slide this over. And then I will transform this K that's on the bottom here, if I select that, to a darker color. Actually, I'm going to drag this up above. There we go. So that we have like kind of an overlap there, almost. So it almost looks 3D, but it is also still flat. And then what I did is I selected both of them, just holding Shift and clicking the top and bottommost layer that I would like to select. And I right click and hit Convert to Smart Object, and that just gave me this nice chunky letter. But I'm not going to use the K, just wanted to go over how I did that. I'm going to use the letter U. And the first thing we're going to do before we start making this really look like a storybook and getting into our custom brushes and fonts is I am going to actually create a nice storybook background for this. So I'm going to press F real quick because you folks know that I love to work in the second view of Photoshop. And I am just around this U going to create a nice grassy area, a sky, and a sun with just some simple shapes. So I will, let's see, I'm going to create a new layer with Control Shift in or Command Shift in. And I am just going to kind of snag a shape layer or a shape tool. I'm going to go to my rectangle tool and I'm going to drag out what is going to be our grass. Okay, so I'm just going to make myself a nice little shape here. I'll kind of bring those edges in like so. Boom. And I'm going to make sure these corners are dragged all the way out. There we are. And then I'm also going to snag an ellipse tool and I am going to create a circle holding Shift so that it snaps to being a perfect circle. And once I get about the size that I want, I'm going to hold the space bar so that I can drag it around. So I'm still holding Shift, still holding the space bar and just kind of dragging around. And I could put this sun in the corner here, but I thought it might also be interesting just to put it behind the corner of the U. That seems like pretty dynamic, so I'll just release that so it's right back there. And that works for me. I think that that's all I'm gonna do. You could experiment kind of creating some shapes that look like clouds or whatever it is that you would like, but I'm gonna go with this. And now I'm quickly going to use some clipping masks just to add in some different colors and change things up slightly. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna hit enter. I'm going to grab my brush tool, or first let's change the color of these shapes because I don't know if I want. This one I might leave as this this green, or I might change it to something just slightly different, like this bluish. Or heck, maybe we have like a straight blue grass. We don't need to, you know, kind of adhere to the rules here. We could have blue if we want. This ellipse could be this tan color, or maybe this maybe the white color, whichever I want. And the background, I think I'll drag out another shape. And you could, you know, you could paint bucket a color in here if you wanted to, but I'm going to use shapes because that's just what I want for this. I'll bring these in and snap them to the borders of my canvas. Make sure I drag those corners out so they're pointy. And I'm going to change this to, maybe I'll change this to the bright color and change our ellipse to a lighter green, like so. There we go. And then I might also edit the colors of our letter. So I did do this U like we did the K, and it's a smart object, which means, you know, it's static right here, but if I double click this, it actually opens up what I originally turned into that smart object, so I can edit it. So I could come in here and I can really change our colors here. And if I wanted to, let me go back. I'm pressing F and then F one more time to kind of enter into our first mode of Photoshop. What I could do is I could snag the tab for this group that I've opened and hold this like so, so I can see both of my files at once if I want to. And then I can change the color so I can kind of see it evolve within the space here. So let's open our colors, and maybe I will make the front U this color, and maybe I will make the back U this color, and then we will Control S to save, and you can see it changes right in there. And that works for me. So now everything's separate, and the colors are a little bland, but I think that that will do for now. So I will close my my library. I will undo that, and now we have our little storybook piece here. Let me look through and just make sure no one's asking any questions. We are celebrating Women's History Month this week. Indeed, Andrew Hockredel. All right. So we've got our letter shape edited. We've got our ellipse, our sun in here. We've got our sky. We've got our grass. And with my brush tool, real quick, I am just going to come in with some clipping masks and just put some pizzazz, put some magic on this. So Control-Shift-N to make a new layer. I'm going to click this and say create clipping mask to clip to our sky here. I'm going to make sure my caps lock is not on so that I can see the size of my brush. I've just opened my brush panel here by right-clicking on my canvas. I'll select a soft round brush, switch the mode up here at the top to dissolve, and then I'm going to come in here. I'm kind of changing my brush shape to be a little larger with my left and right bracket keys, and I'm just going to quickly kind of tap some color into this. So let's grab this brighter color, and I'm gonna just kind of make like an ombre of sorts. I might actually need to make the ombre from this other side because we have our sun over here. So I want kind of the brighter vibe coming from there. And then I might grab like this light color and put a tiny bit of that light color in the corner. There we go. We'll do the same thing here with the ellipse. Control-Shift-N or Command-Shift-N to create a new layer. Right-click, create clipping mask. And then we will grab this light color and we will kind of tap a little bit here. I think I might actually want some of the bright color, and I know that that's a little awkward just because we already have that color in the back, but I still think it's interesting. We can still work with it. And I'm just coming in over here to my library and just clicking the color that I would like to use. And then let's do Control-Shift-N or Command-Shift-N above our grassy rectangle here. Create clipping mask, and we'll do the same thing. Let's find a good color for this. Perhaps this color. Let's kind of bring that in over here. And I know that our back portion of our U is kind of that same color, but I think it's fine. We can kind of do this, and we'll edit the color a little bit of it. We'll grab maybe this darker color and tap just a teeny tiny bit into the corner over here, just to give it, you know, a little bit of depth. So we've got this nice background here. And then I'll double click the letter shape again and do the same thing to our U here. So Control-Shift-N, click, create clipping mask, and then let's grab our darker color, and we will do a little bit of tap tap here, a little bit of tap tap under here, just to give it a little bit of something something. And same with this top U. Control-Shift-N, oops, Control-Shift-N, not Control-Shift-B. Right click, create clipping mask, and we will grab maybe this color, and just put a little bit of pizzazz on there, shall we? And let's go ahead and save and just see how that looks. Let's see what that's looking like. That works for me, you know, and I might put a little bit more on this if I had more time, but I don't want I don't want to spend the entire time on this because we're going to make some custom brushes and we're about halfway through our challenge here. So quick recap, we have gone over how to kind of drag our letter in here. We have created a background very quickly, used some clipping masks to add a little bit more texture to what we've got going on. And now we're going to create some custom brushes that will really make this look like a storybook illustration. And some of you may be thinking still, like, what does that mean? How are we going to do that? And what is that going to look like? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start creating some shapes. I'm going to hide my U here just so I have more of a kind of clean area on my canvas to work here. And there's a lot of ways that you can create the brushes that we're going to create. We're going to create a window brush because we're going to make that letter U look like a house. We're going to create a window brush. We're going to create a door brush. We're going to create a bush, like grassy bush brush, and we're going to create, we could also create clouds and birds if we want. Now you can use a shape tool, you can use the pen tool. So real quick, I'm going to hit P on my keyboard to access my pen tool. And if I wanted to make some birds, maybe I would tap, you know, and kind of do something like this. I'll hold Alt and click that little arm there, and tap here. Then maybe do something like this, bring that up like that, hold Alt and direct this up here and something like this. Boom. So there's like a little brush. Let me go ahead and click here and we'll edit this little armature a little bit like so. And then I am going to, let's go ahead and change this color because I want this color changed. Let's change it to our dark color like so. So we've got this little bird shape. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, every single thing underneath this, I'm going to click the topmost layer, click the bottommost layer while holding Shift, and I'm going to Control G just to group that together. And I'm going to call this project. So everything's grouped together. I'm going to hide this. So I just have a blank canvas behind here. We'll grab our shape, Control T or Command T if you're working on a Mac, and we're going to just kind of bring this out like so. All right. And I'm going to rasterize this, and I'm going to, with my my selection tool, my rectangular marquee tool, I'm going to select like so, okay? And then I'm going to come over to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and I'm going to call this Bird, okay? Boom. So now if I hide that and I unhide my project and I Control D to deselect, if I press B on my keyboard to access my brush, let me come in here and I'll make a new layer. I can come over here, here's Bird, and I've got a bird brush. I can come in and I can, you know, if I want to use like this dark color, this dark blue, I can, you know, make it smaller and kind of add a little flock of birds. Boom. So there's some birds in the sky kind of flying across our sky, and I can, it's all in the same layer, so I can kind of transform it. Maybe I'll put another couple over here in the distance and all that good stuff. Boom. So we've got some birds in the sky, okay? And I don't know if that overlaps with our U. Kind of cool. We can leave it like that. So we got a bird brush, all right? Now we're gonna make a door. And you can do this, so we've done one brush that kind of utilizes the pen tool, but you could use your stylus if you want, or you could use your mouse to draw some lines for a door and a window. So I'm gonna grab, we'll use a sharp round brush, like a hard round, hard pressure brush here. This is a brush that comes free in Photoshop. You will all have this brush. And I am just going to quickly, I'll make my brush smaller, hold Shift. Let me make a new layer real quick, make sure we're on a new layer, Control Shift in. And I will, let me bring this up here. I will drag, so I've clicked and hold Shift and drag to make a straight line, and I will do the same thing here, click and hold to make a straight line, And same thing here, click and hold to make a straight line. If I wanted to do it like that. And then you could draw, you know, maybe you want like a little window or whatever you want on this. Another way you could do it is just with the rectangle tool. And maybe we do it like this. Maybe we want like a door shape. Okay. We'll kind of round those corners or sharpen those corners there. So we've got our door. And then maybe I'll mask a doorknob out of here. Okay, so I'm going to, this little button down here at the bottom with the rectangle with the dot in it, will mask, and then selected on that mask right here, I'm going to make sure I'm painting with black. So I'll hit B on my keyboard, make sure I have black selected, and maybe I'll just cut a doorknob out of this. So I'm just going to tap, boom, and it's masked that. And then the same as I've done here, I'm going to rasterize that layer. I will hide my project. I'm going to transform my door, okay, like so. And then I'll grab my rectangular marquee. I will drag a selection here, and it's basically going to define a brush based on only what I've selected. Edit, define brush preset, we'll call that door. Boom. We'll hide that, unhide our project. Control D to deselect. We'll unhide our U here, and then I'm going to, on another layer with the clipping mask, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put a door on the front of our U. Okay, I'm going to put a little door right there. Boom. So we've got a little door. How much time do we have left? We've got about 3 minutes. This is okay. I want to kind of bump that over just a little bit. Boom. So we've got a little door. Okay, little door on the front there. And I want to make our bush brush next. So let's go ahead and on another layer. You can also use the pen tool for this. For the sake of time, I'm going to use my stylus for this one because I'm very comfortable using a stylus. But we'll come over, let's grab like a sharp round brush, I think is what we need, something like that. Yeah. Again, you can do this with a pen tool the same way I did the birds, but like I said, I'm going to go ahead and just draw a bush, something that would go like right here, you know, and just have like this nice kind of bushy vibe, like that. Something along those lines, just so I can kind of tap a bush or two in front here. We'll go ahead and clean that up like so. And then I'm going to bring this up here. We'll Control T. We'll make that larger. I'm gonna throw that like so right there. I'll clean it up just a tad. I've got my eraser brush and I'm just kind of cleaning up in here. Boom, boom. I'll try not to be too precious with it because we are coming to the end of the line here with this challenge. And then I'm going to hide my project. And I want to point out I am hiding the project because I don't want anything to be selected that's not the bush when we create our brush. Okay, that's very important. So we got our bush. Again, define brush preset. We'll call this bush. Boom. We'll hide that layer. Unhide our project, and then on another layer above our U here, we'll Control D to deselect, and I can come in here with my bush, and I can start to kind of create a little bit of a, design. I might make several different bushes just so I have some difference of texture and whatnot here, but you can see how you can come in here and you can just start adding some cool little designs if you want. You could even make this, if I want to select a lighter color and start adding some little bushes out here. I could do that if I want, and we could start creating a really great little design piece, kind of creating a story. Now, I do have to take off. We are at the end of our rope for our stream today, but I hope that kind of creating these these brushes and using the shapes and everything can help you start to visualize what you might do to create a storybook illustration with a letter. I've had a blast today. I hope that you guys have fun as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back tomorrow morning with another Photoshop typography challenge in honor of the 36 days of type. And I hope you folks would join me. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time. Adios, everyone.